The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
Hundreds and hundreds of bodies.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Last of Us Survivor difficulty video walkthrough. This is the high school escape in Billstown chapter. And this is a sequence that frustrated me a little bit when I was playing. Not because it's difficult or particularly challenging in any way, but because the checkpoint is kind of shitty. So what is going to happen here is not only can you not stealth this entire section because there is a mandatory trip of spawns where a bunch of runners aggro and mob you, but afterwards, if you restart the checkpoint before you get into the school, you will be all the way back before you killed any of the infected. So what proceeds is I'm going to move through this area with the arrows that we've collected. I'm going to be killing these people with my bow, and fingers crossed my arrows don't break as frequently as they seem to do all the other times I play, and hopefully we'll get somewhere. Then when we get to the point where the spawn is tripped, we're going to have to take on a bunch of runners, and once again we're hoping that they drop some bullets when we kill them. And my biggest frustration with this section was the time that I actually restarted because I got grabbed by a zombie when I got to the car battery. I got 8 shells in the shotgun, and then the time when I actually did it for the guide after getting fucked by the checkpoint, I didn't get the same amount, and it was really bothersome because getting a good loot drop is the epitome of any kind of game, especially in a survival horror. It's the type of stuff that keeps you alive, that gives you that extra ounce of fight, and it's just a shame that it can be so just broken. But my advice for this sequence is literally just isolate and kill, stay crouched, put cover between you and the infected, wait for them to line up so that they're not going to move erratically when you fire the bow, because it's not the easiest weapon to use. It does take some practice, and I think I've upgraded it so that it's got better range. The range definitely helps, but it's still not easy. And while we're doing this, I think I might talk a little bit about the plot, because the plot of this game is not what I think a lot of people expect it to be. Like, if you come into this game expecting this to be about zombies, or to be about the infection, or this thing that's crippled the world, if anything, that is a framing device, and it has nothing to do with the story. Sure, there is a main narrative running through the game of this concept of this disease and this cure, but that is not the story. That is not the plot. The plot is the people. The plot is humanity and the struggle. And more acutely, the plot is Joel and Ellie and their relationship. Everything else is just a delivery format for these two people that we're supposed to feel something for, and we are watching as, you know, their journey unfolds and their struggle becomes, however it ends up, you know, becoming a reality and getting to some kind of conclusion. And that is the real story to this game. And that video that I put up in 20 seconds, sure, it showed a couple of moments from the plot, but they're completely out of context, and it's done in such a silly way that it has zero to do with The Last of Us. It's just a dumb video, and anybody who think it has anything to do with the plot missed the plot. Because it's like I said, it's like saying that this is about the infected, when it's not. There isn't a single zombie film or piece of narrative that has anything directly to do with the zombies, because it's always about the human struggle. It's never the zombies that end up fucking things up. It's always the people and the choices that get made. And that's what makes it so interesting, because infected zombies, you know, humans that have somehow gone bad or mad, they're boring. They're totally boring, because you know what they're going to do. You know that they're ferocious. You know if they bite you, you're fucked. You know exactly what they do, what their intentions are. You know everything about them. There's no human psychology to them. They're just mindless rogues. This is the tripwire, by the way. I just tripped it. Now you need to run. Run away, get some space, turn around, shotgun to the face. It is literally that simple, and hopefully your AI buddies will do more work than mine tend to do, because I tend to get really stupid AI. But, you know, there's no mystery to zombies. There's no mystery to the infection. I mean, sometimes it can be conveyed in an interesting way when there's different mutations and you're learning where it comes from, and that can definitely play a role into it, but that is never usually the spotlight, because the spotlight is the human strife. And I think a lot of people that, you know, perhaps don't look at it from a grander perspective miss out on that, miss out on the fundamentals of what makes these stories so interesting and what makes them so palatable to the audience. Like, it's not about beating zombies to death. That is a gameplay mechanic that is in the game because it's a survival game. It's about so much more than that, and it's one of those things where I hate when people just ignorantly play something off as, oh, it's just a zombie game, all you do is listen to people talk, you don't play, you don't do this. I think it's just an immature way of looking at things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It stems from ignorance. It stems from ignorance and it stems from immaturity, which are two things that we all go through and two things that we can all cure by experience. And, you know, we're all still immature and ignorant in some respects to a lot of things. Like, a good thing for me is the Miss America stuff that in America is quite a big thing. It's nationally celebrated and it's displayed. It's out there in the media to a large extent. Like, where I come from, which is, you know, a small island, it probably happens in small communities in little niche areas, but it's not a big thing. You know, it's not something that we culturally do to the same extent, or that at least we promote to the same extent, because it's completely different in how we handle it or how we appraise it. That's not to devalue it, it's just it's not something that is here. That's culturally significant. But in certain parts of the world, probably not just America, it's a big business. And I got linked to a video last night of Miss Utah 2013 getting asked a question which was quite a tricky question, because the woman who said it had layers to the question that would have made it quite an interesting political discussion on the equality of the sexes. But these people in these competitions are not usually renowned for you know, masterful intellects. These people are not usually scientists or people that have brains. And I know that sounds awful. It does sound awful, because these people are probably gifted in many other ways, but I think this kind of, you know, objectification of women has been presented in such a way for such a long time that they're trying to make it more intellectual. They're trying to make it appeal more to the mind and not just say that a woman is a pair of boobs and a fancy apron. And I think, oh, by the way, you can completely skip this bullshit by running to this window. It's a very good tip. But getting back to what I was saying, I think that to try and, you know, get away from the sexism of it and the stereotypical nature of ladies parading and looking attractive and using their, you know, their feminine wiles to I don't know, win prizes, I think they've tried to make it more sophisticated. And I'm not going to overanalyze it, because, like I say, I'm completely naive to it. But they ask them these questions, and then it's almost, you know, political in a way, because they present themselves and they use buzzwords and they use, you know, certain language that you use when you're speaking to a crowd in a certain environment. And they've got to prove that they're not just pretty faces, that there's also a brain there. But the biggest problem is, a lot of these people are figureheads. They're figureheads because at the end of the day, the beauty wins, you know. The good looks are what win these competitions. And, you know, that stems from the lower part of the brain, I would think. I'm not too sure, because, like I say, I don't understand it. So I'm just going to share my ignorant opinion, because I think it's fucking hilarious. And this girl gets asked this question, and you can tell that she's been told to say certain things like an importance of education and an importance of jobs and, you know, the US people, America, you know, almost deifying America, bigging America up, land of the free, freedom, you know, these type of slogans that politicians use to essentially sell the general public bullshit that they don't really care about. Or they do care about, but they hide it with freedom and liberty and the will to do this and the right to do that. This poor girl, man. She gets asked this question and she essentially mumbles. She mumbles for about 30 seconds. She doesn't say a coherent sentence. She doesn't even make a point. She just talks in circles, and it is the most excruciatingly funny thing I've seen in a long time. I sat there like Jean-Luc Picard with my hand over my face because it was extremely uncomfortable. But it's hilarious too, because it's obviously not her forte, speaking coherently about, you know, topics that are slightly more grandiose than how big are your tits and whatever skills she does have, because she obviously has skills. She's managed to get on a stage which is broadcast in front of a lot of people and talk, but all we get is, I think that men and education and if we improve education, we will make better. And it was so painful, but hilarious. And you can Google Miss Utah 2013 if you want to see it. And it's just this thing of, what the fuck is this? You know, what is this that this happens? And it is absolutely baffling and hilarious. And it led me to another one. By the way here, guys, you can probably stealth this area, but as you can see, I'm using all my utensils, I'm using my guns, I'm trying to get my AI buddies to do as much damage as possible, I'm trying to group people and fuck up throwing a bomb. I'm just doing the standard Last of Us survival stuff right here while I talk about this insane tangent. But that video led me to another video, and I kind of feel sorry for these girls because, you know, they're generally picked because of the looks. Their education, I'm not too sure the quality of it or where it comes from or what the impetus on that is. And it is kind of crazy. But this other girl was, excuse me, Miss Southern Carolina, 2007. And her question was, as of a census, 1 in 5 Americans do not know where America is on a world map. Why do you think this is? Which is an insane question. But I don't know a lot about academia in America. I'm not too sure how those guys are taught geography. So I don't know what the impetus is on. I want to defend this fact by saying that in America, a lot of the education system is biased towards America. You know, you are taught to believe you live in the best place on the planet, and why would you ever want to leave? You've got all this freedom, you've got all this awesomeness, go watch American Gladiators, you know, that kind of shit. I don't really know, I've never been. All I know is what I see from various biased pieces of media. So I'm not too sure why this statistic is the way it is, and I'm not going to say that all Americans are stupid, because it's not true. You know, every country has stupid people. There are smart people, there are the mid-level people, and there are dumb people. There are a whole gradient of intellects, and I'm a dumb person, so I can spot them a mile off. But this woman responds to this question, which I find just appalling. This sequence here, by the way, is your first encounter with a floater. If you hit this guy with these nail bombs, or these scissor bombs, and you hit him with a Molotov, he will be so close to dying, maybe the fire will finish him off. But bear in mind, 2 runners assail you right here, so I'm trying to lure them together and insta-kill them both with a shotgun. It didn't work. Couple of things to note: if the floater gets close to you, or the bloater, sorry, he will insta-kill you with a grab, much like the clickers. He fires an explosive that is very damaging on this difficulty, and all you want to do is use whatever you can to take him out. And as you can see, I'm fashioning a Molotov to deal that extra damage. It's entirely up to you how you want to fight these folks. Melee is insanity. I don't know if there's a critical point like the head. I don't know what the best place to shoot is. I just kind of, you know, do it the old-fashioned way and gorilla him down. And I think the second shot kills him. No, is it the third shot? Third shot from the rifle puts him down. No, this guy takes a pounding. So put cover between you and him so that the projectiles do not damage her. And that is the kill shot. Only thing left to do here is survive another infected attack. So you should be okay. But this girl, Miss Southern Carolina, she basically said the native US people don't know where America is on a map because they don't own maps. And the education system in places like South Africa and Iraq should help America in their education system to help Iraq. And it was an absolute clusterfuck of just, what is this girl saying? What is this person saying? And she's an attractive person. She got picked for looks, and she's obviously been groomed to say certain things, to look into these. This is what you should say. This is how you should answer. But it's obviously not her gift. It's obviously not what she's supposed to do. Is it funny? Yes, it is. It is absolutely fucking hilarious. Is it kind of sad? Yes. Yes, it is. But Isn't that the beauty of the internet, that we can see something like that? Isn't that the beauty of the way that we've set ourselves up, that that stuff is broadcasted on television? I just don't understand it, and I don't even know where this tangent's come from, but there it is, folks. If you have any real insight into the culture of these prom... It's not a prom, what's it called? These pageant things, this parading of the female form and what have you, because there's nothing wrong with the female form, guys. There is nothing vulgar about any form. The male form, the female form, we're all just fucking, naked monkeys that have shaved a bit of hair. But this pretension of this fucking spokesman for places that a lot of them fundamentally should not be speaking for any body of people. Like, I should not speak for any body of people. I do so because I'm stupid and I find it hilarious. I also have a gift when it comes to hyperbole. That is literally it. Everything else is just collective insanity. But these motherfuckers wearing the fancy dresses with the fake smiles, talking about education in every sentence before they've even realised they didn't say an actual sentence. That is insanity. And that is the end of that topic. I do apologise if you have no interest in it, but I find it hilarious. And if you haven't seen those videos, please watch them. Because it is just so good. It is gloriously delicious. But we are in the house that I mentioned previously, where Bill has a little epiphany. I kind of spoke about it prematurely. All that's left to do here, folks, is to loot the house and get a little bit more exposition. And then we're going to go outside and push this truck, which is kind of a mandatory fight situation. And this is around the part of the game where I realised that not killing things was pointless, because it seemed to be the only way you can play for a lot of it. And that is a bit of a shame, but at the same time, I think it's the most fun way you can experience The Last of Us. But what's going to happen is you're going to push the truck, and then every so often you're going to get attacked by one or two runners, maybe a clicker, and you just want to press triangle to disengage from the truck, and then put some shots in them, and carry on. But when I was watching that video, I might as well go out on a tangent, seeing as how this one has been so heavily divergent from The Last of Us. On the side, there was a load of associated links to different videos, and one of them was a massive stereotype that must be so frustrating to Americans, where it was literally, Americans are stupid, Americans are dumb, which is probably one of the most condescending, sweeping statements you can make about an entire nation of people, because America is an insanely big place. They have states bigger than my country, states bigger than the entire United Kingdom. That place is fucking huge. It is a landmass of epic proportions. And these videos, I always wonder the way that they're scripted, because what this was a New Zealand news report. I think it went out on CNN, and I don't know how old it is, because I was just clicking and just laughing at silly answers that humans give to questions. And it was a New Zealand reporter who was making a report, and it was a sarcastic, satirical report, because he began saying that, Americans are accused of being stupid, but this is not true, as you'll find from this new report. And all it was a montage of people who are not necessarily stupid, but are ignorant to a lot of world truths, a lot of world facts that maybe they didn't come across in their life, and it does not paint them with a very good brush. And I always think to myself, did they ask other people who had really good answers, but they omitted them from this report so that they could make, this generalization that they're all kind of dumb? I wonder what that conversation was like, where they asked these questions and the person was bang on with their answers and in fact knew more than they themselves did. And they kind of realised, yeah, this is not going to work, we're going to have to move on and go for that person over there with hardly any teeth and more tattoos than they have facial hair. And their facial hair is all over their body. Which doesn't even make any sense, that's a logical absurdity. But it always makes me wonder how biased it is, because there are stupid people fucking everywhere. And they were asking a question. One of the questions, I can't talk about a lot of them because this is practically the end of the video, but name a country beginning with ooh. Ooh? It's not even a word. Beginning with U. Why did I say ooh? I'm like Ubisoft. I'm going all French-Canadian. And they couldn't. Like, one person said Utopia, which is charming. Someone said Utah, which is obviously a state. And there aren't that many countries beginning with U, and some of them are kind of deceptive. United States of America, is that really the name of the country? I don't think so. United Kingdom, that's kind of a collective, not really a country. It's a unification of countries, it's just bizarre. Like, the internet is such a special place, but there are some videos where you just think, I think I'm fucking stupider because I watched that.